I think that one of the things that surprise people besides my age is the fact that it's not just your memory, that it's often coordination problems, behavioral problems, hallucinations, things like that, sleep problems, that it's not just your memory.
The most surprising information is the treatment for dementia is still in research. So in the marketplace, especially in underserved community, there is a lot of misinformation. If you take that, if you do that, misinformation. So that was very surprising. They realized the treatment is still on research and they got it so they can avoid fraud and scam in the community, make people think that if they are doing certain things, that's not bad, but however, it's not a treatment for dementia.
You can see many people in our community has a misunderstanding about is just thinking this is just normal aging, this is part of the aging process. So never really see this as disease. So they also saying that people feel I want to distance myself or from this particular person, maybe because if I would together with this person, the person, well, I may be affected. So there's sometimes a lot of misunderstanding about this. So it's very clear. We try to deliver messages, say, this is a brain disease. It's nothing wrong about their life, their feng shui, there's something else. It is something, is just sometimes we have a disease, heart disease, high blood pressure, all those things. It's just one of these. That's the key message we say we try to continue promote to tell people about that. Because in our community, sometimes people want to label people, okay? When they label people, they the family also want to be protected. So they never want to have someone, their loved one, have that situation, has any outside contact, because they feel that shame, because something wrong about my family. But if they see this as a disease, they maybe change the whole mindset. It's a long way to go in our community. Continue education is the key. Continue to promote the key message, hopefully can gradually change their belief.
In my community, they understand almost exclusively as forgetfulness, And one thing that they used to say is, this person with dementia is become a child again. And I try to explain to them, no, they are not child again. They are adult and they have this disease. Explain why, what happened, what the signs, and how we have to treat, not treat them as a child, and because most people used to say that. So they start to treat them as a child, and it's not the way we have to do with them, It's like that.
Thank you, Alana. That's such an important point to make. And I think for most adults, if they're treated as a child, it feels disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And not everyone can communicate how they feel about that because of the symptoms of dementia. If someone has more advanced dementia, they might have trouble expressing themselves, but they still feel it. They still feel that disrespect, and it causes problems in the relationship, and it causes problems for their quality of life. And so that teaching is so valuable that you're doing. Let's see, Arnetta.
One of their first questions when we do this information session is that, can I develop dementia? Can I develop Alzheimer's? How do I tell? Because of all the, I don't want to say bad publicity, but because of former research methods on the Black communities, a lot of Black individuals are afraid to go and find out about themselves. They're afraid to go to the hospitals or even tell their doctors what they're experiencing. Afraid of being labeled, pretty much like our children are labeled when they first go into school. So I think that's one of the most challenging for the Black and Brown communities that I've witnessed and talked about in our information sessions. When I led the training for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, that's the group I've led this particular training for. The thing that I've had to kind of reinforce in people to help people to understand is that the behaviors that they see in people, which are usually distressing behaviors, they take that personally, and they think that the individuals are doing things on purpose, et cetera. So I need to remind people, and this has to be reinforced, that it's a disease. And the other thing that some of the people have asked, oh, am I going to catch it? They were worried about catching it from somebody else. So I think that's the other thing that we have to kind of explain, that it's not that kind of disease, not like an infection. So you have to be being simplistic and bringing it down so that people can understand that people aren't, it's a disease, it's things that are happening that the person doesn't have control over. And they're not just doing this to get back at you or something like that. So I think that's one of the things that those particular participants, but to kind of go back to what many of the other people are speaking about is this whole change. I mean, it's not, for many of the people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, it's not often we see memory initially. We'll see change, a big change, and it's usually changes in behavior. So that has to be fully investigated and kind of understood. And the problem with that in our field, especially with, we have a number of people, for instance, with the Down syndrome or younger onset dementia, is that because the word is out that people with Down syndrome get Alzheimer's disease, that anybody who shows a change in behavior, even at age 19 and 20, they have dementia, where they don't get the full assessment that people deserve to get. And so I've had people recently, somebody asked me about a 30-year-old person with autism. There are things happening where we think the person has dementia. So I think part of it, even though we're glad to have that information out there, but it also has to be approached thoughtfully and carefully and for people, because I've had people in their 19 and 20s that just automatically get a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease when, in fact, when later more assessment is done, it turns out it may be something like depression or hypothyroidism or something like that.
Well, to piggyback on what Kathy said, what has been most useful to the participants, and in this case, I mean either the family members or those individuals who are working with those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, is the simple information about how to communicate. And people are just so surprised that these little simple things you can do in the way you communicate can make such an incredible difference for somebody living with dementia. And it's also something that's so easy to try, and immediately you'll have success. So it's very exciting. The most surprising thing that we have found is that people are just shocked that there is so much that they can do to help somebody who is living with dementia, because the message that, as everyone has said, that is out there is that this is a death sentence and there's nothing you can do. And what the message that we send is, oh, no, there is so much you can do to help somebody live with purpose and meaning and joy. And so it is really changing that frame that is, I think, the most surprising to them. They have no idea.
Something that we have been able to teach the participants, and they have been very satisfied about this, is that they have been able to understand their family members. In the fact that this is a process that we have to accept the condition of the patient. Once, for example, if they say that something is Black, you need to understand what they're trying to say and go along with that. Those classes have been teaching the patients on how to have a better quality of life, because the participants have been able to understand those classes, that it's a memory loss, that they can understand better their family members. And I think it's been a success to have those sessions with the family members. They they feel more comfortable and prepared because there's a guide that helps them to be better caregivers in their communities.
In my dementia friend session, most people are really happy and grateful to know the basics about dementia. And some people were surprised that everyone can get dementia, not only for the old people. And also watching the videos about dementia and people in the videos sharing their experience is useful and it's inspiring people to live stronger. Because of the videos, some people in our community are willing to help and support dementia friends and willing to be more patient with their family elders. For the youth, like high school thing for the youth, they are also excited to know too. They all say that it's good to know. Yeah, this is I think what they say they do not hear from others. This is like the first time they get educated for us, something like that.